Right, for this EOC practice question, we're given a table of values and it says it's a linear function. It says match each key feature of the graph to its value. So they list x-intercept, y-intercept, and rate of change. So we need to think about what each of these means before we get started. So when I have an x-intercept, if I think about what my graph looks like, this is x, this is y. X-intercept is asking me when does it touch this x-axis. Everything on this x-axis has a y value of 0. Right? Every point on here, the y value is 0. So, and then if I want the y-intercept, I'm asking when does the line touch this axis, and everything on this, the x is 0. Rate of change is another word for slope. So based on my table, there's one thing, remember that f of x and y mean the same thing? This box is going to give me one of my answers without having to do any figuring. So this is where y is 0. That's going to be my x-intercept. So my x-intercept is 3. Okay, now I'm going to have to figure some stuff out for the rest of this. And I can do this a few ways. One way to do this, if I want to find the slope, is to use my formula. So when I want to figure out slope, I will need to subtract my y's and put that on the top, subtract my x's and put that on the bottom. I can use whatever points I want from this table. I'm going to use this point as my x1 and my y1, and this point as my x2 and my y2. Now, why did I use those points? I used them because they were positives and I didn't have to worry about the negatives. Okay, so if I plug these into this formula, I would have 6 minus 0 over 6 minus 3. So 6 minus 0 gives me 6 on the top, 6 minus 3 gives me 3 on the bottom, and then I can simplify that to 2 over 1, or just 2. So my rate of change is going to be 2. Now for this next part, the only thing left is my y-intercept. So I could do this a few different ways. One way to do this would be to think about my equation, y equals mx plus b. When I have y equals mx plus b, the m stands for slope, and I know that. That's 2. I don't know my y-intercept. That's what I'm trying to figure out. That's my b. But I have x and y values from my table here. So I'm going to just use my same x1 and y1, and I'm going to plug in 0 for y. I'm going to plug in my slope is 2. I'm going to plug in 3 for my x, and now I can figure out what my y-intercept is. So that's going to be 0 equals 6 plus b. And if I move that 6 to the other side by subtracting it, then I get negative 6 is equal to b. And b is my y-intercept. So that's going to be negative 6. That was one way to do it. If you are totally stuck, you could try maybe figuring out what the pattern was here. If you knew your rate of change was 2, we could work backwards and maybe fill in the gaps for these numbers. So what do I mean by that? Like if I was stuck, this is x, this is y, I could make a list and I gotta go negative 1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm filling in my missing numbers. I know this is negative 8, I know this is 0, and I know this is 6. Well, we know our rate of change is supposed to be 2, so that means I'm going to count by 2 on my y's. So I could either start from here and work my way this way, or start from here and work my way backwards. So if I counted by 2, this would give me negative 6, negative 4, negative 2, 0 is already there, 2, 4, and 6. Okay, I'm looking for when x is 0. So it's negative 6. So that's another way we could do it if we forgot about this equation part here.